The American Institute of Architects Colorado chapter embarked on an oral history project to capture firsthand the stories of architects who have achieved fellowship, the highest honor awarded to members within the AIA. The interviews preserve their career highlights, sources of influence and inspiration, anecdotes about significant Colorado architecture, as well as personal philosophies and even humor. This short video features highlights of AIA Colorado's interview with Martha Bennett, FAIA Lead AP, Principal and founding member of Bennett Wagner Grody Architects in Denver.
I think historic preservation does require both a different skill set and a different mind frame. I think you have to be very sensitive to the historical importance, not just of the building, but that era and what people were doing that made that building the way it was, so that you can restore it creatively so that it responds to current needs, but respecting the old. And the materials and everything, it's like the difference between doing residential design and skyscrapers. It's a totally different skill set, and I think sensibility toward that type of building that's required. The Eaton Humanities building is one that I'm particularly proud of. I got to work, we had to reprogram the building, so I got to work on the programming of what would go in there. And so we got a list, it was pretty consistent, got a list of which classrooms the teachers, the faculty liked to teach in the most, which classrooms the kids liked to be in the most. And it was completely redundant. And so we took those rooms and we analyzed what it was that made them so wonderful. And it had a lot to do with, they were in the older buildings. There was a lot more daylight. There was more interesting lighting, better acoustics. The windows opened. Usually windows on more than one side. The size of the room for the type of class seemed to be right. And so now, now that we're old and our kids have gone through school there, their friends have gone through school there, and so we still go over there and ask kids which are your favorite classrooms on campus. And we've had kids say, don't even bother unless you can get some classes in Eaton Humanities. It's the best. It's the best. I am incredibly proud of the architecture work that I've done, and of course I want to be remembered for the best buildings. And they are beautiful. But I think what makes me the most proud is that, like the CU Humanities building, the kids want to be in that building, the teachers, the people want to be in that building. So I think from a sustainability standpoint, because we have been so involved in sustainability, I think the most sustainable thing we can do is to design buildings that people don't want to tear down. So I think that's what I'm most proud of, are those buildings that just seem to become beloved, and they work and people love to be in them, and so you don't want to tear them down.
Hear more of Martha Bennett's story and interviews with other architects at AIA Colorado's YouTube channel. This project was paid for in part by a History Colorado State Historical Fund grant.